Welcome to Asian Like Me, presented by me, Dr. Sohee Jun, the podcast for the modern Asian woman redefining what it means to thrive. I've spent years navigating the complexities of culture, family expectations, and career ambitions. Here, we have real, unfiltered conversations with incredible women who are breaking barriers, charting their own paths, and owning their power. Together, we'll dive into the wins, the lessons, and the challenges we all face. And yeah, we'll laugh. We'll share stories and drop some actionable tips to help you crush it in your own way. This is your space to feel seen, heard, and inspired. Ready to rewrite the rules? Let's drop in. Sherrlene, we had just the most resonant start to this conversation. Our guests don't even know yet, but we have so many things in common. And I've been wanting to have this conversation with you ever since, gosh, when did we have lunch? It was months ago now.
A few months ago, 2 months ago, maybe.
Yeah, it feels longer, but we were just talking about all the things that we can explore in this conversation. So I'm excited to get into it. And I want to start with what is currently lighting you up?
As far as life goes, I'm leaning towards a spiritual journey. So that is what lights me up every day. And I've been going on hikes and being outdoors to become one with the earth. And honestly, so this is probably like a whole nother podcast that we need to create. But the spiritual journey path for me is what lights me up every day. And I think it's a new journey for me. So it's exciting.
I know when you and I sat down, we talked so much about the spiritual paths and the things that are coming into your kind of orbit that you're noticing that you're more open to. And I just have to share for our listeners that you and I, when we were chatting about just before I started recording, we were talking about our necklaces. And I was just saying how much you match your home office right now. And you showed me your necklace. And I was getting chills because I showed you my necklace, which is what, Charlene?
Evil eye.
Yeah. So you said this is what's lighting you up, the spiritual stuff. What does the evil eye signify? Why do you have it around your neck right now?
I have years ago, my friend, she is Persian and she's also Muslim and was big on the evil eye. So whenever there was a celebration, a birthday, or a birth of my son, she would give the evil eye. And she told me that it's for protection and it protects you from evil. So ever since then, I was like, oh my gosh, I need protection. So I'm obsessed with it. So I have the necklace and I also have a bracelet and I also have an anklet.
Oh,
So
when you
it,
go, you're going all in with the evil eye.
yes. And then supposedly, like I had a bracelet and there were beads to it too. So it ended up falling. And I was like, oh my God, I lost the evil eye bracelet. She no, that means that it actually protected you from the evil. So I was like, oh, fascinating.
It is very fascinating, even before we sat down for lunch. And maybe that was the first time I really got into it, but I'm also very deeply spiritual. My dad was an ordained Buddhist monk before he passed. He had the whole ceremony, the induction into being a monk officially before he passed. And so a girlfriend of mine gave me this evil eye, which when you say it, it sounds like it's, to me, I perceive it to be like, okay, why would I want an evil eye on my around me? And the way that you explain it, I love what you said, Charlene, is that it is the thing that protects you from other evils so that there's no evil or harm that comes to you. Is that right?
Yes. But then also too, I agree. I don't want to use that word evil. Maybe how about bad and no, not even bad, just the energy that doesn't align with your soul. So let's go with that instead of the evil.
Yeah, let's call it a protective eye. Let's just
Yeah,
rebrand it right now.
that okay. Protective eye. I love that.
Okay, I
Okay.
love that too. We'll use that. Protective eye. The conversation that I'm inviting you into today is going to be just really unique in the sense that I cannot wait for our listeners to hear your experience because you're half Korean and half African American. And I remember when I met you at this networking event, I immediately gravitated to you. And I was like, both drawn to your energy. You had this and you still do, you just embody this very warm, very light energy. And so that's what drew me to you at that networking event. And it's still true every time I see you or am in conversation with you. So I want to unpack your experience being half Korean and half African American. And let's start there with what was it like growing up mixed race?
My parents met in an army frat when my dad was stationed in Korea. And I was born in Seoul, and my mother was raised North Korean, and she escaped, I guess you would say, from North Korea to South Korea. Met my father, and they had 5 children together. And between him and the army being stationed between Korea and North Carolina, the 3 were born in Korea, and then the youngest and the oldest were born in North Carolina. But growing up, half Korean and half Black, I always felt that I stood out because I was different, but not in a way that I felt celebrated. But then also, I didn't really focus on being so different because I thought we were all one. I didn't see color,
Mm,
but I did realize that others didn't look like me,
yeah.
whether in color or not, and hair. But all of my friends, I had friends from the Asian side to African American to Middle Eastern, but there was no color. I grew up where I wasn't Black enough, but also I wasn't Korean enough. So I didn't veer towards one side or the other. It was just more of a mixed race of friends. But I also grew up in a Caucasian neighborhood. So a lot of my friends were Jewish and Caucasian. I started realizing that I didn't look like them. But then growing up in more of the Korean culture, Korean side, because of my mom raised us, my dad was traveling because of the army. I grew up more Korean, going to a Korean church, but not speaking it. So I didn't really understand it. I just went because all my cousins were Korean and my mom and my aunts and uncles. That was hard for me because I didn't understand it. And I do regret it a little bit now.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was pretty much my history of growing up.
You know what's interesting about that? I definitely hear you when you say that you didn't feel like you fit in into either, really. And because your mom's Korean and she took you around to those places, like her family and the church, you grew up more identifying more with being Korean. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. And
No, I didn't but yes, because we did the whole year end or annual, the sebe, people who are Korean will understand that. In our hanboks, going to our Harmony Harajuku's houses every year, but I couldn't communicate with them. So that was sad for me. And then growing up as an adult, I wish I knew more Korean. So maybe I should go on Duolingo and start it. Maybe.
Sherrlene. Okay. I'm laughing because I'm like, you and I can both Duolingo Korean because I think I shared with you, like, I want to learn the language too. I'm laughing at myself. You and I have said many times, like, we're like soul sisters, and I feel that on so many levels. One, both of us are like, yeah, you're half Korean, I'm Korean. I'm like, we need to know the language here. And low key, I love how you're dropping Korean terminology like harmony and harabaji, which is grandma and grandpa, and hanbok, which is the Korean traditional dress that people wear on holidays and stuff.
Question on that. And I'm probably gonna ask you a lot of questions. Did your kids grow up?
I love that question. So my kids are half Chinese and half Korean, and I say this often, and I do think it's true. I got reintegrated into my culture through them because for most of my young adult life, and certainly when I came to the US, I wanted to not be Korean. I wanted to fit in to my predominant neighborhood of Caucasian. I was in Phoenix, I was in Colorado and California, and that's primarily where we resided growing up. And it was really predominantly Caucasian. So I just wanted to fit in. And for you, it sounds like that you didn't really notice difference. And or did you? And then around when did you start noticing that you were different?
I think it was probably towards the end of middle school when people would call each other names. Somebody called me the N word.
Oh, wow.
You're not black enough. You're not Korean. You're this and that. You know how kids are.
Yeah.
So up until then, I didn't really see a difference.
When that occurred, how did you handle it? Did you know that you were being called out? I don't know, I'm trying to get under the hood of that.
Yeah. I did know I was getting called out, but it made me angry because I was like, why do I have to choose sides? Why
Mm.
can't I just be in the middle? So it was confusing and it made me more angry than anything.
Oh, wow. So then do you feel like you did choose a side?
No, because my dad was the only child and it was just him. So we didn't learn the African American quote unquote culture. It
Mm.
was more on the Korean side of it. So now I'm still in the middle.
That's interesting. I was going to say that me growing up in my culture and my family of origin, sometimes I could be a little bombastic, a little racist in what they said. Not, and I'm wondering if you feel left out of your mom's side of the family.
I did, yes,
Yeah, tell me
because
about.
all of my cousins, I had a lot of cousins. My mom had six brothers and sisters, but I couldn't communicate with my grandparents. I couldn't communicate with my aunts and uncles because their English was very minimal. So it was more communicating with the cousins because they all grew up here. And I felt sad because I couldn't communicate with my family. And those were my family. That's all we knew. That's all I knew growing up was the
Yeah.
Koreans.
So there was a language barrier from what I'm hearing you say. There's language barrier, and also there's that you looked different from your all Korean cousins or family members. So how did you navigate that? If you can recall back to being younger, how did you navigate that? Did you get support from your mom or others around you in making sense of it?
No, I had to figure it out myself. I'm assuming that all Korean culture is the same, and which to me is the parents were kind of disconnected, I guess,
Yeah.
only because my mom was working so much and she wasn't around. So I think it falls back to the era that we all grew up in. The 80s, you're on your own. You would take yourself to school because your parents were gone, because you would go to the school that's in your neighborhood, right? So it was usually walking distance. And you would come home and nobody would be home and you would have a TV dinner and you would stick it in the microwave and eat and do your homework. I had to figure it out myself because nobody looked like me.
You retelling that story, I feel like you were telling my childhood. I try not to generalize, and I think that's a fair generalization of parenting kids that were raised in the 70s and 80s. It is exactly that. Like, I found myself, whatever school we landed in, because we moved so often, it was within walking distance from home. Walked myself home. There was no parent there because, like your mom, my parents worked a lot. They were gone more than they were present. And you're right. I threw the microwave. It's like so funny. We can do a whole conversation around the food that we grew up on in the 80s. Like it was that Stouffer's, it was the pizza, it was like Celeste pizza and all the stuff that we probably don't feed our kids today. I know I don't.
As
And
healthy as you are, never.
and making do as we can on our own. And I'm sure that on this side of adulthood, it's grown resilience for you in different ways. Can you talk about that like ties to how you grew up and how it's made you who you are today?
It's made me a stronger person, but I don't see any different from when I was younger
Mm.
because I still see no color. And I try to raise my son that way as well. But I see it as the challenges that we deal with are not so much bad. It's actually helpful and it helps us grow. So I'm really thankful for that.
Yeah, I think that's a beautiful reframing that I had to learn. When I was certainly growing up and being teased for being Korean in my all predominantly Caucasian neighborhood or feeling left out too. By the way, I also felt neither here nor there in terms of when I was growing up because I did so much to erase my identity. I didn't feel Korean when I came to LA, which has the largest Korean population outside of Korea. I didn't feel Korean enough. I wasn't until my children, like I said, I didn't really understand the K-drama, the karaoke stuff that was so popular out here. And then I also certainly didn't feel white enough. So I felt in between worlds too. And it sounds like that's where you were navigating the spaces and you also chose the middle. What does that mean you chose the middle?
That I don't choose a side.
Mm.
It's more of just being me, just being your true, authentic self. Whatever that means to anybody, it's different, but not so much color or the way your eyes are slanted or your hair. You always want something that you don't have for probably my first 30 years of my life. But now I'm embracing it, embracing me. And I hope others will do that too.
Yeah, tell me. Okay, so you said, I don't know that it came through the audio as well. You said you wanted to have straight hair for most of your life.
Yes, I straightened my hair my first 35 years of my life. Yeah, 36 years of my life.
What did it mean?
It was straight, all flat iron.
Wow.
And then one day I just decided I'm going to go natural. Let me see what it actually looks like. And I cut my hair super short. And I think I cried for 2 days
Why?
because it's so short, number one. And I was like, what did I do? I made such a big mistake. But it's probably the best thing that I've ever done because I've never gotten so many compliments on my hair. Not that it should matter what other people think, but I did it because I wanted to go natural. I wanted to see what it looked like. I was tired of straightening it. And then also because I thought it would be easier to do. I can get out of the shower, I can just run stuff in my hair and just go. But at the end, it's actually more work. But I don't mind it. I love it now.
I want to go to that moment of you getting curious about what it's like to let your hair be what it is. Like, what brought you to that point? Outside of just getting tired of spending the time straightening it, I firmly believe that there was internal processing probably that you were doing about identity that led you to that point. Is that correct in some form and way?
I never thought about it until right the second. Yeah, if I look back at it and digging a little bit deeper, yeah, I think I was missing a little bit more of my African American side. And since I grew up Korean, I thought, yeah, maybe let me try this out to see if this will work for me. Whatever that is, I was open to it. So yeah, thank you for that.
I love it. Look, I helped you unlock a new level of awareness.
That was a eye opener for me. It's like your life is kind of peeling an onion back. So that was a layer. So thank you, Sohee. I heart you.
Sherrlene, I heart you right back. Talk about layers of I'm a huge onion. If we're using that metaphor, like I have so many layers. It's gonna take a while to get through all the
I
layers.
think we all do.
Yeah. How big is your onion?
Gigantic.
And you mentioned, and I know you have boys, right?
One, yes, just one boy.
Okay. Why did I think you had more than one?
Maybe because I wish I had more. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. And tell me, is he mixed race and how old he is?
Yes. So he just turned 15. His name is Kingston. And my husband is half Italian, half Caucasian. So I guess he's half Caucasian, he said, a quarter African American and a quarter Korean.
Talk about a beautiful mosaic of cultures. Wow. So you and I also have that in common. I have a 15-year-old son as well. So I'm making a list of all the different podcast episodes we can have. We need to talk about spirituality. We can talk about our raising our kids, boys, teenagers, all that. And now I want to dive into because he has so many beautiful ethnicities and heritages. How is that for you parenting? Do you try to help him understand his heritage or embrace one over the other? Or what does that look like for you as a parent?
Yes. So my husband and I are very big on incorporating all of it. And so he knows the culture of all of it. And I think it's because of school, he's influenced by the kids at school. He
Mhm.
tends to lean more towards the African American side. He looks like me, he's darker skinned. Nobody knows that he is Asian because he doesn't look like it. His hair is very curly, just like mine. Everyone says he's my mini me,
Mhm.
but he leans more towards the African American side, and we're always constantly trying to grab that wheel and go towards the middle. But then now I'm not thinking about it. I'm like, should I be doing that? I don't know because I'm with my spiritual journey too. I'm trying to let go of a lot of things and loosen the reins and let go of the wheel, let Jesus take the wheels, so to speak. And maybe I should do that with him now that you brought that up.
It's certainly something to reflect on. And I hear you about letting go of the wheels. I was talking to a friend the other day where I'm saying, look, I'm trying to let go of expectations and outcomes. And I think parents, certainly ones that are reflective, really think about this, like how much do they try to guide versus control? Those are just ever present, evergreen things to think about. And with your son, it sounds like what I'm hearing you say is he's leaning towards more of the African American culture. And I guess I'm curious about how do you incorporate or have you the Koreanness or Italian heritage? Is it through food? I don't know.
Yeah, it's more towards just acknowledging it because we don't lean towards one or the other as a family.
Mhm.
So it's just more acknowledging it instead of I'm black. And that's what he always says. But it's like, no, you're actually not fully black. You're half white and you have Korean as well. You know, your family members are white and Korean and African American. That's how we try to lead him towards everything.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting? I don't know if this is an experience for you, Sherrlene, is that when I am very like direct in that way of saying to my kids, for example, you're also Korean and Chinese. I have three kids. One or two of them will bristle up against me and say, "No, I'm this," or more that. It's almost like this natural tendency to want to push against whatever the parent is saying to claim their own identity, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Do your kids lean more towards one side?
So my oldest is very much in the middle about this, similar to what you're saying, Charlene. When I cook him Korean foods, he will say thank you in Chinese. And I think that's his way of acknowledging both cultures. And for my middle daughter, when she's with me, we have a beautiful custody arrangement in which they spend the bulk of the weekdays with me and we alternate weekends. And she and I have learned this beautiful dance of cooking together. She loves to eat mostly Korean foods is her favorite. And so we cook together. So in that way, she's much more embracing of the Korean culture. And then my youngest, he's interesting. I don't know that he really cares either way. When I say, oh, you're half Korean and Chinese, he just is. He's just low key about all of it. So each kid is a little bit different in their journey with identity and embracing both cultures. However, food plays such a large part in it for my kids and my family.
It's so fun. Like I love it. And maybe I should start incorporating food. Though I don't know how to cook Korean food, and my son is pretty picky. So maybe as he gets older, I can do that. So thanks for that tip.
No, you need to come over. I will show you. Did I share this with you, Charlene? She passed from pancreatic cancer 5 years ago. And when she was going through that cancer journey, the way that I bonded with her was through cooking with her because she had spent so many years helping me to raise my kids. And I just took it for granted, all the amazing, beautiful, healthy Korean foods that she would make and from scratch. And so as she was going through this journey, I would video us cooking together. So I know how to make kimchi. You can come over and we will do this together.
I love that. Sounds like so much fun.
I'm assuming you enjoy Korean food.
I do. Yes, all of it. Not all of it.
Okay, not all
Majority.
of it. What's your favorite Korean comfort food?
I love kimbap bulgogi, japchae. Whenever I get sick, my mom makes meal so love that.
I love
Kimchi.
all of those things. I know how to make all of those things. The miyeokguk is traditional, so that's seaweed soup, and that's traditional for birthdays and holidays. And did your mom do this too, where after you give birth, you're supposed to have it for a month? You're supposed to eat miyeokguk for a month.
Really? No, I did not know that. I'm gonna have to ask her about
Ask
it.
her about this.
Should ask her to teach me how to cook Korean while she's still here. So that's actually, you know what? Thank you for
I love this. I love all the different ideas I'm planting with you. I want to talk about some of the challenges that you faced around acceptance from the community, or more importantly, like within yourself. What were some of the tension points that you can recall?
just not fitting in was pretty much what the challenge for me. And again, I just got to go back to just not looking like anybody.
Yeah.
And I felt alone a lot of the times because of that. Though my sisters and brother were there, we weren't close, but now that I think about it, I'm like, why didn't I go to them to talk to them about it and see if they're going through the same thing that I went through?
Yeah.
And thank you for that because now I will. It's never too late, right?
It's never too late. And I think it's interesting family, like dinner conversation or just taking a walk together. I know my sister and I have had a lot of conversations around like growing up and our individual experiences, because I honestly didn't do that either growing up. She and I are very different personality wise. And so when I was growing up, I was just hunkered into my own cave and she was going through her own experience as an older sister. So we weren't like, hey, what's going on for you? We didn't have those conversations growing up either.
Is that normal though in like a Korean household or is it a culture? I don't know. Like the communication of
Oh,
Black.
that's interesting. So I will say that's quote unquote normal for how we grew up. We didn't express our feelings, and my mom, and I don't blame her for this, it was just a trauma that she couldn't really navigate when she saw us cry. Like we were not allowed to cry at all. So we suppressed a lot of things, is what I'm trying to say.
Same,
You too, huh?
same. Yes, exactly. So I think that if I ask like my cousins and stuff like that, I'm sure it's the same, but it's not their fault. It's just that the way that they were brought up and quote unquote programmed to do, not a lot of I love you was had, and not a lot of affection, not a lot of hugs. That was normal though for me. So when I went to other people's homes for dinner, I would hear that I love you, and they would sit for dinner and they would hug each other and touch each other. I was like, is this normal? That was a surprise to me because I thought it was normal not to.
Yes, absolutely, 1,000% agree. It wasn't really until I went to college that I witnessed other families doing it different, because my friends would invite me to their homes if they lived nearby the campus over for holidays, and sometimes I would join them. And it was eye-opening for me too, Sherrlene. I was like, whoa, they have different traditions and different ways of behaving. So I actually was sharing this just with another friend probably yesterday, if I'm recalling correctly, that during my college years came home for one holiday and I introduced hugging to our family because we didn't hug, and affection wasn't shown that way in the Western ways that they show it. And so I remember thinking to myself vividly, I'm going to do this. I want to hug my parents. It's the way that I want to show affection. So I went in for the hug and they were so, surely you're going to laugh at this. Maybe you relate. They were so stiff as a board. They're like, what is she doing?
Yes, totally relatable. And it's sad though, but I still do it. I go in for the hug for my mom, and it's awkward. I can tell it's just weird
Yeah.
for her.
I 100% agree. That generation, none of this is a blame. And I think when we have done, and I'm speaking for both you and I, but please share if it's different. Like, I know that I've done such a lot of work around understanding my parents in a different way and letting go of a lot of feelings of grief and loss and what I didn't have based on the Western culture. The reality is they did have a very different experience growing up. And I'm speaking for your mom's experience too, generalizing. They came from wartime. It's just not what they knew or were programmed, to your point. They weren't programmed this way to parent the way that we do. And don't you agree? Like, I feel as though every generation over indexes into the other way of doing things based on their own experience, right? So I'm sure you parent very differently.
Agreed.
Yeah. And here's the thing that I want to draw out too is just because they didn't show it in the way that we grew up around doesn't mean that they didn't love us. So, how I made sense of it is they showed love through food and they showed love through giving me allowance or money that I didn't have to go to a job for. Like a lot of my high school, junior high friends or high school friends were working jobs to have money for gas, whatever. My parents gave it to me. And that's one way that they showed me love. And so, what are the moments of pride or strength that came from you being mixed race and also from your heritage and growing up?
There's no question about it that there was love from my parents, my mom especially. And yes, she did it in other ways. Maybe there's no communication of I love you or affection, but I knew it was there. So I tried to implement that more so in my life with my family and my friends and with my son. And I'm sorry, I got sidetracked. What was the question again?
No, that's okay. As you were growing up, and talk specifically about being mixed race, what were the strengths or moments of pride from being having two heritages, cultures?
People think that having two races or cultures is you have the best of both worlds, but it gives you strength in other ways because you're intertwined in the two cultures, but looking different and not so much like others is something that we should all embrace because we're all different, no matter what race we are. And I'm trying to find that for me. I don't know if that answered your question or not.
No, it did. And where are you on your journey of trying to find that for yourself?
You know what? I started meditating. So I'm trying to find me within my light. I'm in the very beginning stages. So I would love to sit with you and dig a little bit about your Buddhism too. Or it might be another podcast.
Yes. What do you wish people knew as our listeners are, whether they're mixed race themselves or trying to understand more about this experience? What do you wish people understood about being mixed race?
That it could be lonely and a bit confusing. And it's a constant journey of self-discovery.
Mm.
But I wish they understood that as a mixed race individual, you carry a lot of deep stories and struggles, and you should communicate it, get it out there, and talk to people in your community so you have somebody to talk about. Don't keep it in. So that's what I would want people to know, just
Yeah.
to communicate it more and understand each other's upbringing and also their mixed race experience.
Yeah, like you're doing today, communicating about it.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Where do you find community these days?
With family and friends right now, I'm not trying to go out and look for people, but if people come in like you into my life, embrace and I love it. And I'm trying to be more open to meeting people, going different places that I'm not used to, going outdoors more. I told you I did a 10-mile bike ride this morning. I try to do it every weekend, Saturday and Sunday. So it's a small community, but I'm open. I'm not looking for it, but I'm open.
Yeah, yes, you told me 2 weekends ago that you're doing a 10-mile bike ride, and I was so jealous because I love bike riding, and my bike is currently in the shop. It's the wheels are a little bit they need to be fixed. So I feel like there, and you have said to me outright that you're in this transition. There's more spirituality in your life, there's more of being outdoors. What would you call this time in your life? What's going on for you?
I'm getting out of the corporate world professionally and I'm going the entrepreneur route. So that's my main focus. But spiritually, I'm living in the YouTube world right now as far as trying to awaken my chakras and just finding my inner light and my true authentic self. Open to hearing and connecting with people who are on this journey too, because I feel like I'm going in blind because I'm in the very beginning stages. Although it's been about almost a year, I still feel like an infant.
I think it's an ever like an onion. I think it's true here, the spiritual journey, and I'm going to tie it to what you said about being authentic. That is a very nuanced journey that has a million layers to it. And I really doubled down into the spirituality meditation world 5 years ago to find some peace right around when I was divorcing and my mom was diagnosed with cancer and then COVID hit. So all of the trifecta of things in my life was going on, and I really needed to find my center. And growing up, I dabbled with meditation again because my parents were into it and I just couldn't. In this Buddhist world, they call it the monkey mind. Oh my God, my mind was crazy, like a million times going all over the place. I just had zero patience for meditation. And I was like, this is not for me. It's so dumb. It's whatever I labeled it. And on this side of adulthood, nearing almost like in my mid 40s is when I came back to it. And now 5 years really dedicated to it. Like every morning, Sherrlene, it is my non-negotiable. My kids know it. They leave me alone. They know when mom's meditating. I do it like it's me drinking water or breathing air. And it's taken me a long time to get there. I share that because one, I think it's brave that you're entering into a new space that is helping you find more authenticity and who you are and helping you through this. Welcome, sister, into this world of entrepreneurship. Hello, join us. And if it's helping you, I think it's one step at a time.
Yes. And I hear you on the meditating part because sometimes I'm there still because I'm still in the early stages. So it's tough. It's tough. So I hope to get to the space that you're at now, but I try to do it every morning and sometimes at night.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a beautiful journey. I want to ask you back for multiple conversations because we can go down so many rabbit holes. And the question I want to ask you is, how do you define what it means to be a modern Asian and African American female?
So to me, it means challenging your old expectations and pushing for more representation, advocating for yourself and speaking your truth, owning your identity and staying true to who you are. And I'm still trying to figure that out and just being able to define success in your own terms, breaking stereotypes along the way and knowing that you are it and never giving up as a human, let alone Asian or African American. Just keep up and go for your dreams. Shoot for the stars.
You are such a positive light in the world. We're not looking at each other on camera right now, but I just feel your positive energy. And that is why I have loved being in conversation with you, Charlene. Will you come back for more?
Yes, yes. You know what? Because I do want you to go into your spiritual. You should do a podcast on that, and then also about your parents' journey in Buddhism. That's like
You have just inspired me to do 2 solo episodes. I will take you up on that. I'll talk about my spiritual journey, and also this will be good fodder for me to dive deeper into finding out more about my parents.
wait.
Thank you, Charlene.
Thank you so much, Sohee. I heart you.
I heart
And
you too. Until next time. We covered so much in this conversation with Charlene and I, and what it's really left me with is that no matter your heritage or your cultural identity, this journey is really about how to come home back to yourself and embracing all parts of you, whether you're half Korean or half Black or other races. The journey really is one, I think, of self-acceptance, especially in a world that tells you you have to be a certain thing or identify with a certain something. So I really hope that you felt connected to that for yourself. And the reflection question I have for you is, in what ways can you show more compassion to all parts of you and all parts of your identity? And then the second one, because we talk so much about this, is around our spiritual journey, is when you heard that us talk about the spiritual journey for each of us, what jumped or what did you get curious with, whether it's the spiritual journey for yourself, if you have a practice, if you don't, if you do, what is it? And if you don't, what are you curious about in relation to spiritual growth? And as always, thank you for tuning in. I'm committed to bringing more conversations in which we help each other feel connected and seen, And so I invite you to please leave a review, all of your reviews, whether it's on Apple, Spotify, or other platforms, helps this conversation get out to the ones that need to hear it. So I really invite you to do it now, to leave a review and also forward it and share it with one other person, your bestie, who you know can really resonate or would see themselves in this conversation. And until next time, thank you so much.